Hey everybody, it's Kelly Ballard, the Abundance Business Coach, and today is Wednesday, and we are continuing our march through balance, talking about balance, really trying to take a deep dive into different parts and pieces of what causes an imbalance for our business owners. Business owners being some of the hardest working, most dedicated, determined people on the planet. And I've had the overwhelming privilege of working with thousands of them in the last 30 years. So, which is something that I will always consider a privilege. But today I want to talk about, as you know, we've talked about before, we're kind of marching through balance, talking about different parts of balance, and taking each week, and I'm just assigning 5 kind of random words that have come up for me around the letter. So we're just kind of marching through balance, B-A-L-A-N-C-E, and can't spell today, sorry. So this week we're on in. Last week we talked a lot about alignment and different ways that that shows up in a business owner's life or doesn't show up. And this week we're talking about in different inwards. And yesterday we talked about the narrative, the internal narrative that each and every one of us has. And Monday we talked about how difficult it is for business owners to say no. No. It's real easy when you were 2 to say no, much to your mom's consternation, I'm sure. But I digress. So today we're going to talk about numbers. Most of you know that I am a bookkeeper by trade. I've owned an accounting business for 30 years, and trying to make myself younger than I am, but not really. So numbers are something that I really enjoy talking about, and something that is a real comfortable, safe place for me to get into. So I really kind of want to spend some time today talking about not only just the numbers, but how we look at and view those numbers. So some of the phrases that I hear regularly are, just look at the numbers. The numbers don't add up. The numbers aren't so great. And I'm hearing a lot of that this year. People had really high hopes in October, November, December of last year, had some real high hopes for 2020. And needless to say, most of those were not what we expected them to be. So when I say look at the numbers, or the numbers don't add up, or the numbers aren't what we thought they would be or what they should be, you're inserting a judgment. There's a judgment in that. Numbers aren't good. Numbers are not great. Numbers are very good. Maybe you're doing really well this year. But that's a judgment. So we're judging those numbers. When in fact, the numbers in those reports are actually really neutral. They're not good and they're not bad. They're a piece of information. And how you as a business owner chooses to respond to that information really is the determining factor in whether they're good or bad. So if the numbers are not what you would want, you haven't received the desired outcome, then your internal narrative is going to cause you to look at that as either a problem or an opportunity. If you have a real negative, harsh, limiting belief around looking at those numbers and your relationship with money is challenged, then you're going to see that as a problem. And you're going to see it from a scarcity mindset. If you have a abundance mindset and you have a positive way of looking at things, and your internal narrative is one of solving problems, then you're going to look at that as an opportunity. How do I turn this around? How do I change How do I make it different than what it is? But you're not judging it as bad. You're just looking at it as, here's an opportunity for me to do something different than to try to change some things to bring about a different outcome. So your numbers measure what has been, what was. Last month, we're looking at a profit and loss for last month. You're looking at what your sales were, what your expenses were for the previous time period. One thing that we can do with that is very helpful to business owners in deciding how they want to respond and take action on that report is to look at your profit and loss for last month. So let's say we're looking at a profit and loss for November, since we are in December. So we look at a profit and loss for November of 2020. So you can take that and compare that profit and loss for November of 2020 with a profit and loss for October of 2020. So how did you do in November compared to the previous month? It's called a comparative analysis. The other comparative analysis that is really helpful is the prior year. So take that profit and loss and compare it to November of 2019. And how are your sales in comparison to the previous year? How are your expenses in comparison to the previous year? Those are two places where I like to, as a consultant, take a real deep dive in deciding where we're going to go, what kind of steps we're going to take to implement decisions or strategies that are going to bring about some change in your business. The other one that is really super helpful to take a look at is on your balance sheet, is your bank account. Again, compare your ending bank balance November 30th to October 31st, to the ending of the previous month. And then compare that November 30th, 2020 to what it was 2019, excuse me. So and in that one, if you're looking at 2019 and 2020 side by side, and your bank balance is roughly the same, then you are probably spending everything that you're bringing in. There, you've had a year. Let's say your bank balance in 2019 is 15,000, and you look at your bank balance in 2020 and it's 14,000. So you're roughly the same, you're in the same neighborhood. So this is generally not an issue of lack of sales. This is usually an issue of lack of budgeting and lack of cash flow management. I like to say in that situation and scenario that the business owner is allowing the business to control and run them. In other words, they don't really own the business kind of owns them. And they are really, they're spending everything they make, and they are really kind of operating their business at the effect of their vendors, their employees, their customers. Something's going on that's causing every dollar that comes in to go back out the door. We're not saving anything. So in this situation, so let's just start to create some margin. So we start small. Say, let's just take $100 a month and put it in a savings account. Yes, by the way, 100% your business can have a savings account. And I strongly encourage you, even if you only put $100 in it today and you don't have a savings account for your business, open a savings account for your business. So then we start taking $100 a month and moving $100 a month into that savings account. Let's just pretend it's not there. Use the balance to pay your bills. So before you pay bills, before you do payroll, before you do anything, move $100 off into that savings account. And because we know energy attracts like energy and money attracts money. So if you start saving and you're starting small, then when you create a budget, or a better said, a spending plan, you have that pattern already established of saving money and moving money into that savings account and setting it aside and not spending every single penny that you make. So that is my challenge and my encouragement to you today is that you open a savings account if you don't have one and start small. Just pick a small number, $100 a month, $50 a month, whatever you can do easily, and just start moving that little bit of money over there every month. And if you would like some help in setting up a budget and getting a spending plan in place for 2021, hit me up, jump on my calendar. I would love to have a conversation with you. And that is one of the services that I do offer, is helping clients establish a budget or a spending plan for their business. So that is absolutely something that I can help you get done. And it's not nearly as painful as you'd think that it is going to be. So creating a budget slowly increases the money you have in savings and is empowering, because then you feel like you're not spending every penny that you make. So Kelli Ballard, the abundance business coach, trying to help you have an abundance of money in your savings account. So that is our chat today about numbers. And I thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. And if there's anything I can do to powerfully serve you, please let me know.